All right. So today we are reading chapter 8, which is Moscow. And before you read, you want to go to page 57 and define the word exile, and page 58 to define the word shunned. Okay? We're going to read these first two pages together, and what you should be thinking about is, how did Ebby's uncle and brother rebel? Why did they do it? What were their goals? And why did their father choose not to participate? You're going to be answering that at the top of 55. And on the side, you're going to be explaining what Anush's nightmare foreshadowed. So let's read it and find out what's going on here. So, my father was not a hero. Is everything all right, Marge? Yeah, sure. If only he had been in prison. They cut my dad's leg off, but he still didn't confess, so they will cut off an arm as well. Too much. She's imagining what it would be like to have a hero for a father. Luckily, one day they told me about my uncle Anush, the only one of my father's brothers I had never met, because he had been in prison, and now, for the first time in 30 years, my grandma was reunited with her 6 children. And I had a hero in my family. Naturally, I loved him immediately. Why don't you come and live with us? Such a sweet child. I'll sleep here tonight and tell you some stories. Are you married? Do you have children? How old are you? Later, Marge, later. Don't bother him too much. He's tired. Good night. Don't worry, we're fine. Okay, here goes. I was 18 years old when my uncle Feridun and his friends proclaimed the independence of the Iranian province of Azerbaijan. Feridun elected himself Minister of Justice of this new little republic. Gentlemen, justice is the basis of democracy. All men should be equal in the eyes of the law. My ideas were the same as his, but your grandfather remained faithful to the Shah. My son, a traitor, go away and join up with my idiotic brother. You'll both end up being executed. Do you hear me? Executed. I became Feridun's secretary. It was a time of dreams and enthusiasm. Azerbaijan is only the beginning. We are going to free Iran province by province. I am certain you're right, Uncle. One night I had a terrible nightmare. Dead people, blood. The next morning I was so tormented I had to see Feridun. Shit, the Shah's soldiers. Good God, Feridun. I'm going to pause right here. This is where you're going to answer those two questions we talked about. How did Ebi's uncle and brother rebel? Why did they do it? And why did their father choose not to participate? So here's the uncle and Ebi, and here's their father. So what did these two people do to rebel? And why does he not agree or not rebel with them? And then on the side of the page, right here, what did this nightmare foreshadow? Hint, it's in these two. So what did that nightmare foreshadow? Hit pause and go ahead and answer that for yourself. I wanted to do something, but there was nothing I could do. They arrested him and I ran away. What a story! For days and days, I walked through the falling snow. I crossed the Alborz Mountains to find refuge at my parents' house in Astara. I was hungry, I was cold, but I continued. I was nearly dead when I arrived. Bang, bang, bang. My God, Anush! What's going on? Who's bothering us at this hour? Come quickly, it's our son, Anush. He has fainted. What is he doing here? Why didn't he stay with his nice uncle? This is the dad who was opposed, right? You always say the right thing at the right time. Help me now. Okay, calm down. Oh, my God, my son, my dear son. It's a bit late to show your affection. But the Shah's police were looking for me. I was not safe with my parents, so I decided to go into exile. I swam across the Aras River and arrived in the USSR. Holy smoke, Lally's dad hasn't even been to the USSR. What happened to your Uncle Feridun? He met his destiny. I learned that he knew The Shah's army was coming to arrest him. He could have run away like most of his friends did, but he decided to stay. All is lost. I am at your mercy, gentlemen. At the time, he had a girlfriend who was involved in a political movement, a girl from a good family. Feridun, you have a visitor. My love, my darling, you shouldn't have come. You're making it worse for yourself. Let's make a child. He's like, what? Here? Right now? Yes, I paid the guard. He won't bother us. I'm going to be executed tomorrow. I know. I want a living memory of you. You know what it is like to be an unmarried mother in this country. You will be shunned. Life will be hell. I don't care. Let's make a child. She became pregnant that very night and left for Switzerland soon after. I know that she had a son. I heard he looks a lot like his father. Are you all right? Do you have any other stories like that? Yes. I'll make you a hot chocolate. All right, so let's talk about what you need to do here. So we're on page 58. So the top of 58, state what happened to Feridun. What happened to Feridun? Since photos are illegal, right? So if it's illegal to have photographs, what do you think the government or the society will do with this girlfriend's choice? I mean, she's getting pregnant. That's a lot bigger than pictures, right? So how do you think people would react to her or treat her based on this decision? You're going to put that at the top of 58 as well. And you, what did you do in the USSR? First, I went to Leningrad, then to Moscow, where I became a student. I have a doctorate in Marxism-Leninism. Dialectic materialism? He's like, huh? What? What do you know about that? I read the comic book version. Later, I married and had 2 children, 2 girls. Look, why doesn't the lady have a head? She was my wife. We are divorced. Okay, but why is her head scratched out? Russians aren't like us. What, they don't have heads? It's hearts they don't have. They don't know how to love. Oh, that's so sad. After the separation, I felt very lonely. I missed my country, my parents, my brothers. I dreamt about them often. I decided to go home. I got a false passport and had disguised myself. I guess I wasn't very convincing. They soon recognized me. Hey, you with the beard and sunglasses, halt! They put me in prison for 9 years. 9 years? Better than Lally's father. They say you were tortured terribly like Samak, Lally's father. Your father told you that? No, he told it to Mom and I heard him. What my wife made me suffer was much worse. I tell you all this because it's important that you know our family memory must not be lost, even if it's not easy for you, even if you don't understand it all. Don't worry, I'll never forget. And now it's time for bed. What? The story isn't finished. Here, take this swan I made in prison, out of bread. In prison? Pleasant dreams. There are lots of heroes in my family. My grandfather was in prison, my uncle Anush too, for 9 years. He was even in the USSR. My great-uncle Feridun proclaimed a democratic state, and he was too much. All right, so I'm going to stop there. And here are a few things that you still need to annotate. At the top of page 60, what did Anush mean when he said that his ex-wife made him suffer more than the prison guards? What does this indirectly tell us about his character? So you are indirectly characterizing him based on these comments, based on the comments of about the prison guards making him suffer much worse than, his wife making him suffer much worse. Then on the top of 61, which is this page, on the top of 61, you're going to write what you think the bread swan may symbolize and why. So it has to stand for something more than itself. What could that swan symbolize? At the bottom of page 61, I want you to give me your definition of a hero. What makes a person a hero? And then don't forget to go back through this chapter and label the theme seeds: rebellion, self-realization, growing up, and personal choice.